Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video. Today in honor of the brand new Thunderbolts movie that has joined the MCU a couple days ago, I'm going to be making some LEGO DC supervillains custom characters based on the main group from the movie, and I'm going to have a little review of the movie at the end, so stay tuned for that. So let me know what you think about this in the comments and we're going to get right into it. Our first character we're going to be going over is Yelena. Now, I'm pretty happy with how this custom turned out, because it's kind of difficult to make her with the parts and pieces in the LEGO DC Supervillains Customizer, because that is basically the latest game with a good customizer. Once we get a new LEGO game, hopefully we can get some better customization options so we can make these characters better. But until then, we're still using this game. But for Yelena, we gave her Malcolm Merlin's torso in a dark green, because I think it looks very similar to what she wears in the movie. I gave her Deadshot's arms to represent the Widow's bites in a dark green. I gave her these back sheet for her batons. I gave her two pistols with this Luke Skywalker hair in this tannish color. I gave her Deathstorm's legs in dark green to get some boots and some regular hips with some black gloves. And I'm pretty happy with how this custom turned out, all things being considered. So, let's move on to the next character that we meet in the film. Our next custom character is Valentina Deontaine. Now, this character is very difficult to make in LEGO, because what she wears is, like, really basic, but there's no great parts for that in LEGO DC Supervillains. So I gave her Lois Lane's hair in this brown with a custom face print, Bronze Tiger's arms in black, Dr. Poison's torso with Lois Lane's hips and legs, both in black. And it's very simple, it's just like a business attire thing. And I think for her character, I think this looks very good. So we're going to move on. Our next character will, beyond the shadow of a doubt, protect you from boring evening. And that is the Red Guardian. I'm very happy with how this custom turned out, and I think that it looks so accurate to his costume in the movie. But, so basically, for the Red Guardian, we gave him the Flash movie's helmet piece in red with some white on the sides. We gave him Aquaman's face with this neck beard piece. We gave him a custom red torso with a white star and belt. We gave him these red and white arms with some red gloves and some red hips and red and white dual molded legs. But I think Red Guardian came out pretty good, and we are going to move on. The next character we meet is Ghost. Now, I'm pretty happy with how this character turned out, because of her design's very tricky, but I think I nailed it. And for this, we gave her Rain's legs and torso piece with no change, and Batman from Batman v Superman's hips in black, General Zod's arms in black with some black gloves. I gave her a black hood piece. And then for the face, you might notice it looks just completely white, and I think it works really well. I also gave her this ability to phase, and I think it looks pretty cool. But I think Ghost came out pretty good, and I think her character was handled very well in the movie. Our next custom character is John Walker, also known as the U.S. Agent, and I'm very happy with how this one turned out. I think it looks very accurate to the movie, and we're gonna just get right into it. For this, I gave him the Flash's helmet piece in black with some red on the sides. I gave him a Hawkman's face to get that chin strap. Mr. Terrific's torso with black and gray arms. We gave him some dark red gloves with Vigilante's belt and Arsenal's legs. We also gave him a shield in gray, so we're going to move on to our next custom. Our next custom character is, I'm going to keep it a little bit of a secret for now, but I'm going to let you guess. This character has the most amount of character development, steals the scene every time they are on, and really helps this movie. They really carry this movie. And obviously I am completely joking, because our next character is Taskmaster. Now, as we all know, Taskmaster is not the most liked character in the MCU, and honestly a lot of people dislike her. But this movie, spoilers ahead. Okay, spoilers are ahead. Skip ahead a little bit. You've been warned. In this movie, Taskmaster gets brought in to assassinate someone and then gets killed in the first 30 minutes. and everyone loved it. I think it was really funny, and it also set a precedent saying that they weren't afraid to kill people off, like just like that. Because the costume even looked better than the last one. I thought it looked pretty cool, honestly. But speaking of the costume, for the hood, we put that in black with a white skull face and a black sword sheath in the back. We gave her a black machete with some blue and orange arms and Adam Strange's legs in blue and orange. We gave her Vigilante's hips, which is the belt, in navy blue, and then Deathstroke's torso in navy. And I honestly don't think this custom turned out bad. I'm just not a huge fan of the character. And moving on. The next character our gang meets is Bob. And I think Bob turned out really good in Lego. To represent the hospital, gown that he's wearing, I gave him the League of Assassins torso in light blue, with just some plain light blue arms, hips, and some dual molded legs. I gave him just flesh tone hands, with a normal face and some brown hair. I think that with how simple this custom is, I think it really suits Bob, and I think that it turned out pretty well, honestly. So we're going to move on. For our next character, we are going over Bucky Barnes, who, in my opinion, stole the show with that absolutely beautiful scene where he rides up on the motorcycle and just destroys the convoy that's chasing after the Thunderbolts. And I think that this custom turned out pretty good. For the hair, I chose this brown long hair with a custom face print with a stubble on it and some black sunglasses. I gave him this torso from a prisoner in black with some black arms. Sorry about that. I gave him a gray pistol to represent the gun he has in the movie. I gave him Big Barda's arm, I think it is, in black to represent his Wakandan metal arm because it's got that black and gold on it. Then I gave him a black hand for his left to represent the whole arm. I gave him some gray hips with Deathstorm's legs and gray and black to represent boots. And I think that this custom turned out pretty good, but we're going to move on to the next custom. Now, after Bucky and the Thunderbolts get to Avengers Tower, they are forced to fight the Sentry. And I think Sentry's costume turned out okay in Lego. There's just this one piece, and it's the hip piece that we'll get to in a second. But so basically, I gave him some long blonde hair with a custom face print, a navy cape with a yellow torso with a 5 on it because there wasn't an S. And honestly, a 5 and S are very similar, so I think it works. I gave him this navy blue belt. And obviously, the Sentry's S is on his belt, but I wasn't able to do that, so I just threw it on the chest because I think it still looks fine. I gave him some yellow and blue dual-molded arms and legs, and I think those look good with some flesh tone hands. And the hips are they only have stuff on there because for some reason you can't have yellow hips in the character customizer. Not exactly sure why, but you have to use the ones that are in the game, and so these are the hips I was able to use. And I think Sentry came out pretty good, but I think that what is that? Oh no. Our next custom is the Void. The Void is the villain of the Thunderbolts movie, and honestly turned out very good. I love the way this looks. We'll get into my review of the movie at the end of this customs video, so stay tuned for that. But I think the Void turned out great in Lego. I basically just gave him plain black arms, torso, hips, legs, and hands with a black cape. And I gave him this black face print with some yellow eyes to represent his beady eyes that can show. And I think when you put him next to Sentry, those two look really cool together. And I think the Void turned out very good in Lego. Now for our final two customs, there will be spoilers for the second post-credit scene of the Thunderbolts. So if you haven't seen it, leave, go watch the Thunderbolts, and come back and finish this video. You have been warned, let's get into it. Our first custom is Bucky's new Avengers costume. Because as we know, once the group rebrands to the new Avengers, they all have new uniforms. Well, most of them at least. The only two that are extremely different that I noticed were Bucky and John Walker. Now Bucky has a what looks like a black chest plate on with the new logo, the new A at the top right. I couldn't get an A, but I got this R, and I think it looks pretty good still. Bucky also has a red star on his right arm that I used Harley Quinn's arm to represent. I used the same arm combination for this suit that I did for the regular Thunderbolts Bucky. And I gave him these black and gray dual-molded legs with the Vigilante's belt in black. And I think that Bucky turned out very good for his new costume, and I'm very excited to see where the MCU goes with that. And then our final custom of the video is John Walker's new suit. So there's a scene in the movie where Yelena and Ghost make fun of Walker's helmet, and I think he was a little insensitive about it. So he ditches the helmet and trades it for this beret. And I think it looks honestly kind of cool. And so basically his entire suit is almost the same, besides the arms are now from Aqualad in black, and Deathstorm's legs. He has Deathstorm's legs now in black. But besides the new face, which is just from the custom face and the beret, his suit is basically the same. But I think that I honestly like this better than his Thunderbolt suit. And I think it makes him look more like a newer character than just, oh, a Captain America ripoff. So I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. And I think him and Bucky definitely look pretty cool together. But so now this is the end of the customs part. Now we're going to talk about my review on the movie. Now, before I get into this, I want to say I've done so many takes of this that I'm honestly getting annoyed, just because I want to do this movie justice with my review, but at the same time, I want to be fair, and I don't want to just praise the movie because of recency bias. The chemistry between the actors really carried it the extra mile, because the chemistry between Yelena, Bucky, Ghost, Walker, especially Red Guardian, they were all hilarious, and it really made the movie for me. And I thought that certain scenes could have been better, certain scenes were done very well. Especially the scene where Bucky rides up on the motorcycle and takes out the convoy attacking the group. I thought that was so cool, and it was very Terminator-esque, where he takes the guy's shotgun, he flips it around, and he shoots it. And that whole scene is just awesome. There's a Marvel Rivals MVP that I think played at the beginning of this video that basically just copies that scene. And it is just so cool, dude. I loved Bucky's inclusion. I think the movie, it wasn't about Bucky. He was in it, and he was a pretty big part of it. But the movie was about Yelena, and about her dealing with her depression and this void that had been taking over her life because of, well, her sadness. And I think that the whole theme of mental health and depression was handled very well, and it was very interesting, honestly. I think they handled the characters very cool. Sentry's costume looked so accurate, and it was honestly really cool. And it was just a very solid movie. It's not the greatest movie of all time, but I do think it's better than most MCU movies nowadays. I think it was better than Captain America: Brave New World, but then again, that's not saying much. That movie was not very good. The villain, there wasn't really a clear villain. There was an antagonist who was Valentina, and the Void was kind of a villain, but he was mainly just an obstacle. And I think that its final battle was kind of disappointing, because I liked the whole rush to stopping Sentry from becoming the Void. I thought that was very cool, and honestly I thought they handled it very well, but there was no epic fight that I think that the movie would have benefited from. And I thought the whole Wheaties box post-credit scene was funny, because, you know, MCU movies, they all have like a joke credit scene nowadays. And I thought the second post-credit scene, a little spoilers ahead, go watch the movie and come back. I thought the second post-credit scene with the whole New Avengers thing was really cool, and I'm very interested to see if the original Avengers, or the new lineup for the original team, is going to fight the New Avengers in some type of battle in the next movie. And then when Yelena asked for the status report on the whole thing in space, and then you see the Fantastic Four rocket. I thought that was really cool, and it makes you think. It kind of gives away, in my opinion, that the Fantastic Four are not going to. I'm going into speculation for the Fantastic Four movie now. I'm speculating that the Fantastic Four are going to lose in Fantastic Four First Steps. They're going to lose, and Galactus is going to eat their world. And in a last-ditch effort to save other worlds from the same fate that their world had, the Fantastic Four are going to get in the rocket, and they're going to somehow get transported to the MCU to help the Avengers defeat Doom, Galactus, whoever stands in their way. And they might just stay in the MCU after that. So, if I had to rate this movie, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. Because I thought it was very enjoyable. I loved the cast. I loved the action. There were some things I think could have been done better. But for the most part, it was very interesting. Kept me waiting to see what was going to happen. And it also had Bucky. And who doesn't like Bucky? So, let me know what you guys think of the movie in the comments below. If you disagree with my review, that's completely understandable. But let me know what you think about the movie in the comments. Let me know what customs you thought were the best in this. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!